bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. So good morning and welcome to the first gathering in the chapel for nearly a year and a half. It is so good to be among you physically. And of course, those people who've joined us on Zoom, we are always so glad to be in their presence. Let me just give a little background on the way the day is going to go. I'm going to speak for a bit. First, I'm going to talk about Swami Prabhupada. You'll see why when I start talking about him. Then I'll speak about Swami Vivekananda. I'll speak about Prabhavananda and then Vivekananda. Then I'll read Vivekananda's poem To the 4th of July. Then we'll sing a couple of songs. America the Beautiful, and Woody Guthrie's This Land is Your Land. Then we'll throw it open for readings from others. And it could be done by Zoom. You can, if you want, if you're at home and you have something you want to read, we will be able to hear you here. So please do that. And anyone who wants to offer a song, please do that. Then we will end the Zoom part of the meeting and go into the monastery for our traditional 4th of July potluck lunch, which, again, what a joy to be able to do these things physically again. I trust that all of you have been fully vaccinated. That makes it safe for us to be among one another, according to the CDC and many other authorities. I know there's some controversy about this, so any of you who have worn masks and feel more comfortable that way, by all means, we're glad you did. We want you to be comfortable. So as I said, the first figure that I'll talk about this morning is my guru, my master, my beloved teacher, Swami Prabhavananda. Now, I'm not going to give you a biographical sketch of Prabhavananda. Prabhavananda was born Abani Ghosh in West Bengal. And that's all I'm going to say about his youth. He was well educated. He joined the Ramakrishna order at a very young age and came to was posted to San Francisco in 1925. What happened after that? He went to Portland. Then he came and started what became the Vedanta Society of Southern California in Hollywood in 1929. He did this at the invitation of devotees who had known Vivekananda and said that the Swami Prabhavananda reminded them of Swami Vivekananda. Now, why bring up Swami Prabhavananda particularly on July 4th? Because he, like Vivekananda, very deliberately left the body on July 4th, 1976. Any of you who want to know the details of that, I'll be glad to talk with you about that privately. But those of you who've come in late and sat in the back, you'll find there are not sheets of paper on your chairs. Please, at some point, find those sheets of paper because you're going to need them later. Swami Prabhavananda. I had been praying for a teacher for about 4 years, from about 1968, 69. And Swami Prabhavananda drew me to him in February of 1973. As I said, I'm going to tell you about my Swami Prabhavananda. At that time, he was 79 years old. He was in very poor health and was not one was not able to see him privately often. But one could see him twice a day if you walked with him. He walked morning and afternoon to maintain his health as best he could. And so after that February of 1973, when I had a very dramatic experience, again, any of you wish to know about that, I'll talk with you about it privately. But I had a very dramatic experience. The very first moment, his glance fell on me. I didn't, and don't now, have any sense that there was anything personal about that. But he did draw me to him through one of his disciples. Her name was Ilyana. Ilyana had brought me to the Hollywood Temple that morning. And because of the dramatic experience that I had, Ilyana was over the moon happy. And as soon as the Swami finished speaking that Sunday morning, she grabbed me by the hand, pulled me out the side door of the chapel, and made sure we had a place to stand where the Swami would pass by. Now, I say all these things so that you know that your prayers also can be answered. Your prayers for a teacher, if you wish one, a personal teacher, can be answered. So as the Swami passed by, leaving the chapel, leaving the temple, it's actually a small temple in Hollywood, on his way back to his room, Ilyana stopped him and said, "Oh, Swami, I'd like to introduce you to someone." He stopped. Now, at that time, the Swami wore dark glasses. His vision was poor. Straw hat, scarf around his neck, even in the summertime, and usually an overcoat. In February, he definitely was wearing those things. He stopped. He looked at me. Ilyana introduced me. And the Swami very, very slightly nodded. That nod was far more significant than I knew. Because the relationship with your teacher is an eternal one, he, of course, had known me before and accepted me as his disciple in that moment. I didn't know that. But for the next 4 months, I was very fortunate in that I had a business about 1.5 miles away from the center. That was completely coincidental, at least I thought it was. I had a business about 1.5 miles from the center. So I was able to arrange my schedule so that I could walk with the Swami morning and afternoon, virtually every day for 4 months. And I think he, though he didn't say anything to me about it, I think he's the one who decided that's enough. Because each day, at the end of that walk, he would bless you this way, 3 fingers on your forehead. I was told later by his amanuensis, his right-hand person, Anandaprana, that he was knocking away your spiritual obstacles each time he touched you in that way. Now, those of you who are here today physically in person are very, very fortunate, because when Swami Prabhavananda passed away, one of the monks gave me his overcoat. I have that overcoat here, and you will all receive the darshan of that overcoat today. The blessing of Swami Prabhavananda by touching the sleeve, the right sleeve of that overcoat to your head. So after those 4 months had passed, I met with the Swami. As I said, it was very difficult to meet with him in those days privately because of his poor health. I did meet with him privately, and I was given instruction. The Swami then, I would continue to come and walk with him from time to time. And my son, I was married for many years before I became a monk. My son also became the Swami's disciple, still is. He was given the name Bimal, which is a name of Shiva. It means the pure. He was 9 years old at the time. So this all took place in 1973. As the years went by, the next few years went by, as I said, I saw the Swami from time to time when I would come on the walks with him. And of course, we always made sure, all of us made sure that we came to the temple whenever he spoke, which was once every couple of months. And he would also go to Santa Barbara, so we would go to Santa Barbara and be there when he spoke. It was considered a great blessing. And so the years passed. In 1975, that's when he gave my son the name Bimal and gave me the name Shankara. on the night of July 4th, 1976, at about 2 o'clock in the morning, I received a call. It was one of the nuns saying, "Come, the Swami has left the body, come and take the blessing of his feet." And so I did that. Now, you've been told all this because these great ones do not go anywhere. As Swami Vivekananda said, we are all together at one point. Where would they go? So all of these great ones, and just go back as far in time as you like, to the great names and personalities, the avatars, the incarnations, the saints. Whoever appeals to your heart, whoever you feel so strongly, I would like to be in relationship with that person, with that being, then make that prayer. Make that prayer repeatedly. Make that prayer repeatedly with tears in your eyes. Whether it be Sri Ramakrishna, whether it be Holy Mother, any of the other personalities that you see here, or Swami Prabhavananda, or Swami Vivekananda. Again, privately, I will tell you some stories about personal encounters with Vivekananda. When your heart reaches out to them with sincerity and persistence, amazing and wonderful things happen. Amazing, wonderful things happen. Now, as I said, I'll be happy to answer any questions about Swami Prabhavananda, but I would prefer that we do that privately. Normally, I would stop and ask for questions at this point, but anything about the Swami, that Swami, I would ask you to ask me privately. And so now I'll again repeat to you the reason I spoke at some length about Swami Prabhavananda, my Swami Prabhavananda, the Swami Prabhavananda that I knew. I mean, if you want to read about him, you can read about his amazing life. And, a good number of the Hollywood stars, as well as the intelligentsia and intellectuals of Los Angeles, were either his disciples or his friends. Just such names as Greta Garbo, Helen Hayes, Aldous Huxley, Christopher Isherwood. So Swami Prabhavananda, who also left the body very deliberately as an homage both to Swami Vivekananda and to this country, because he was in love with this country. Swami Prabhavananda was in love with this country, as was Swami Vivekananda. Swami Prabhavananda actually became a citizen. So before I speak about Swami Vivekananda, I'm going to read something that he wrote on the 4th of July, because it's been so long ago that I read when. I'm not exactly certain whether it was July 4th, 1900 or 1901. But in any case, he was on a houseboat in Kashmir with Sister Nivedita, Josephine MacLeod, Tontine, and a couple of other disciples. And he became very ecstatic on July 4th. And he wrote this. This is Swami Vivekananda. To the 4th of July, behold, the dark clouds melt away that gathered thick at night and hung so like a gloomy pall above the earth. Before thy magic touch, the world awakes. The birds in chorus sing. The flowers raise their starlight crowns, dew set, and wave thee welcome fair. The lakes are opening wide in love, their 100,000 lotus eyes to welcome thee with all their depth. And hail to thee, all hail to thee, thou Lord of light, a welcome new to thee today. O Sun, today thou sheddest liberty. Bethink thee how the world did wait and search for thee through time and clime. Some gave up home and love of friends and went in quest of thee, self-banished through dreary oceans, through primeval forests, each step a struggle for their life or death. Then came the day when work bore fruit and worship, love, and sacrifice fulfilled, accepted, and complete. Then thou, propitious, rose to shed the light of freedom on mankind. Move on, O Lord, in thy resistless path, till thy high noon o'erspreads the world, till every land reflects thy light, till men and women with uplifted heads behold their shackles broken and know in springing joy their life renewed. So that's the 4th of July that we celebrate with Swami Vivekananda. Please take that with you. It will be posted also on the website along with today's talk. So if you don't get a copy today, then you can download it as you please. What I'm saying is feel free to take all these sheets that were on the chairs. So Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, according to Sri Ramakrishna, is the sage Nara, one of the 7 pillars of the world, the Sapta Rishis, the 7 rishis that are the pillar of this age, this kalpa. Sri Ramakrishna tells the story of going to the very border between the relative and the absolute and finding Nara there meditating. And in a childlike form, Sri Ramakrishna threw his arms around the neck of this sage, looked into his eyes, which opened to receive him, and said, I am going down. It's time to go down. Will you come with me? The sage nodded, and Sri Ramakrishna returned to his human form. That birth of Swami Vivekananda, Narendra, was on January 12th, 1863. He was a tempestuous child. He was, his mother said, the very embodiment of a naughty Shiva. And to get him to cooperate with her, she would sometimes have to pour a bucket of water over his head. This is what she said. He would give away everything to wandering mendicants and to the poor. When they locked him in his room to try and stop him from doing this, he opened the window and threw things out the window to them. He grew up to be quite a self-confident, one could even say, bordering on arrogant young man, quite assured that no one had a mind like his, until he encountered Sri Ramakrishna in his late teens. And at his first visit to Sri Ramakrishna, he said boldly to Sri Ramakrishna, as he said to every holy person that he met, "Have you seen God?" Expecting that Sri Ramakrishna would respond in the way that the others had, in some dissimulation, and say something like, "Oh, you have the eyes of a yogi," and not answer his question. Instead, Sri Ramakrishna said, "Yes, I see God. As a matter of fact, I see him more clearly than I see you." And then later in that conversation, he reached out and touched Vivekananda on the chest, at which point the world began to spin and Vivekananda began to lose outer consciousness. And he said, "What are you doing to me? I have my parents at home." And Sri Ramakrishna said, "Well, it doesn't have to happen all at once." Touched him on his chest again. Now, as I said, Vivekananda had this self-opinion that no one had a mind more powerful than his. So he said, "How did this man do this? How did he do this? I'll come back and I'll be switched if he'll do it again." Well, Sri Ramakrishna did do it again. And this time, Vivekananda had the experience of Turiya, the fourth transcendental consciousness. But he left Dakshineshwar, where Sri Ramakrishna was as he visited him, absolutely confounded. How could he do this to me? One moment he speaks like a madman, says, "I'm the sage Nara. How have I kept him waiting all this long?" He says he sees God more clearly than he sees me. And then a few moments later, I see him in conversation with the devotees in his room, and no one could appear more sane. No one could appear more balanced, more able to deal with the questions in conversation with the devotees. So to move this story along, as we know, Swami Vivekananda became Sri Ramakrishna's principal spokesperson. There were two boys born within 9 days of each other that became Sri Ramakrishna's principal disciples. One stayed in India to become the president of the Ramakrishna order, the order that Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother founded with Vivekananda's assistance. That was Swami Brahmananda. Swami Vivekananda, starting in 1893, came to the West. Now, he left the body July 4th, 1902. 7 of those years, between 1893 and 1902, were spent in the West, being Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother's spokesperson for what the Swami called Vedanta. In 1895, at the Brooklyn Ethical Association, he was asked, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I have a mission to the West, as Buddha had a mission to the East." Now, it's remarkable that Sri Ramakrishna told him that Sri Ramakrishna held the key to transcendental consciousness, that Vivekananda would not enjoy this state again until his work was finished. In June of 1895, Swami Vivekananda had that transcendental experience again, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, at Thousand Island Park in New York. So at that point, his work was clearly, by Sri Ramakrishna's estimate, finished. The Swami did not stop. He stayed from June of 1895 until finally he left the body, which was broken and used up, as he said, July 4th, 1902. So the next 7 years, he continued his work, both here and in India. Swami Vivekananda said toward the end of his life, giving us a clue as to how long Sri Ramakrishna's direct teachings would be needed as the Kali Yuga ends and the Satyug, the golden age, the iron age ends and the golden age begins. Swami Vivekananda said, "I have given them enough for 1,500 years." So as you can see, we're just a couple of hundred years into this. But, as Vivekananda said, you do not have to live on lifetime after lifetime in the Satyug. O merciful, if we take any hold upon God in our prayer, it is by thy grace alone, since all thine austerities were practiced for our sake. How great was thy sacrifice, freely choosing thy birth in this prison, our iron age, to unchain us and set us free. This is part of Breaker of This World's Chain, Kandana Bhavana, which is recited here at Arati every time Arati is done. Now, does this mean that you must apply to Sri Ramakrishna? Well, that's an easy answer. But no. Yearn for liberation, yearn to be free of human form, and that will be granted through whatever incarnation or divine being you wish that you hold at the center of your heart, your Ishtadevata. Sri Krishna promises this in the Gita. Christ promises it in his Gospels, especially the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. It's a little harder to find in so many words in the others. The Gospel of John will help you if you're a Christian. But then there is, of course, Sri Ramakrishna, who said, practice just a little and someone will come forward to help you. So Swami Vivekananda filled 9 volumes, 9 big volumes, with his classes, his talks, his letters, the one book that he wrote, Raja Yoga. So there's plenty for you to feast on if you wish to know Vivekananda well. And as I said, Vivekananda has not gone anywhere either. He said at the end of his life, I'll be more effective outside the body. And many have found this to be a truth. So Swami Vivekananda, surrounded by a menagerie of beloved animals, the despair of his brother monks, because he had goats and dogs and cats and Lord knows what all. Surrounded by his beloved menagerie, selected a time on the date July 4th, 1902, from the almanac of astrological phenomena that is a part of the Indian Vedic tradition, selected a moment. Nivedita, in her book, explains why. The master, as I saw him, why that moment. He went to his room, laid down on his bed, said to his assistant, his sevak, fan me. He fanned him for a time. Vivekananda said, okay, that's enough. And so the assistant stopped fanning. And after some time, the only outward manifestation was the Swami's right hand trembled and he was gone from the body. Those limitations. So with that, are there any questions or comments you'd like to make from your own knowledge and wisdom about Swami Vivekananda? Please be forthcoming. This is how we do this together.
Could you please tell us which particular things or ideas that Swami Vivekananda expressed regarding America's independence and the law of independence?
The question was, what did Swami Vivekananda say about America and its independence that made it unusual or even unique? Well, You'll find it in this poem to the 4th of July, implied. But he said directly that of all the places on the earth outside of India, this is the place, the United States is the place where Vedanta would take root. That was his number one assertion about America. The second thing he said that is so important to us is that the leadership for this would come from the women. And what have we seen since the Swami's time here? There has been an absolute revolution in the status of women, far from finished, but the patriarchy is shrinking, dying, ending as we have known it. And as Vivekananda said, the bird will first fly here on two wings, two healthy wings, and provide the leadership to the world for that. So, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. It is an absolute truth. I have seen it in my career with this organization, first as a householder from 1973 to 2010, and then since. The ones who are really the hard workers, the ones who are taking this most to heart and carrying it forward are the women. What does it say in the Chandi, in the Devi Mahatmyam, the verses to the Divine Mother as Durga? All mythologies and scriptures are your aspects, O Devi. So are all women in the world with their various attributes. All mythologies and scriptures are your aspects, O Devi. So are all women in the world with their various attributes. As this ages-long patriarchy is dying out, as women are taking their proper place in the society of many nations, and of course, is that a smooth ride? Oh, no, no, no. As the filmmaker and philosopher Michael Moore says, the dinosaurs are fighting it with every fang and claw. Well, so be it. They're doomed. Thank you, Uma. Anything else?
Is this poem originally written in English or in Bengali?
It was written in English. As I said, he was in an ecstatic state with his Western disciples on a houseboat in Kashmir.
With Sister Nivedita and
The two that I can't remember if it was Mrs. Ole Bull, Mrs. Greenstidle, whoever it was. There were four women with him. Nivedita, Tantine, Ole Bull, and there was a fourth, and I don't remember whether it was Mrs. Greenstidle or
Alamora. He was in Alamora at that time.
it was in Kashmir,
Alamora, where he
wherever the houseboat was on the 4th of July. So yes, it was written in English. Anything else? All right, we have two songs to sing. First, America the Beautiful, and then Woody Guthrie's wonderful song, This Land Is Your Land. Oh, we're going to be accompanied. Wonderful. Well, you can lead us then.
My voice might go down.
Well, Sarda, Cindy Craven, is going to lead us on her ukulele, and which will help us help me anyway, a great deal.
Do you have the words? Do you know the words?
Well,
That's-
I'll struggle along. So anything else about Vivekananda, or anything else that you'd like to ask as she's getting ready?
I recently saw the documentary Vivekananda on his own words. So that's a documentary that he wrote for himself as a biography, correct?
No.
Because they say
No.
Vivekananda in his own words. That's what they say in the documentary.
I have a copy. Oh, well, you're right, she'll need it. I'm sorry. He didn't write the script for the film. All of the script for the film was taken from his writings.
Writings, okay. But he didn't wrote for himself. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, he didn't write it for himself.
Because
He wrote no
because
autobiography.
documentary say Vivekananda in his own words.
But he's in his own, and most of what is there is not what he wrote, but what he said.
Say, okay.
Most of Vivekananda wrote very little. He wrote Raja Yoga. He wrote many letters, which are collected in his collected works. And a lot of what is in that film is taken from his letters. Are you ready?
I think so.
Okay.
You want to find a key? Because
No.
I don't.
Okay, I'll do
Is
the
that
best
too
I
high or
can.
too low?
Oh, beautiful, oh, beautiful. Is that good?
Yeah, is that too low?
No, that's good.
Okay. Oh,
Beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for heroes brave, liberating strife, who more than self their country love, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years, alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with sisterhood, from sea to shining sea. Now, Vivekananda could have written that song. He would have applauded every sentiment in it, every sentiment in these three verses anyway. There are some others that were left out because they get a little triumphalist. So now we'll sing these verses of This Land Is Your Land by Woody Guthrie. This land is your land,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'll get if I can. This land is your land.
This land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forests to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled and I followed my footsteps to the sparkling sands and the diamond deserts, while all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. When the sun came shining and I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, a voice was chanting, a fog was lifting. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forests to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Amen, amen, amen. So, dear ones, I hope that some of you have brought something that you would like to read. I'm going to retire from the field of battle here and sit over to the side, and whoever is to read or sing, please come and sit here so that they can be seen on the Zoom. That includes you, Uma, and anyone else who has a reading they'd like to present. And then when we conclude these readings and singings, we'll conclude with our normal closing prayer for peace, and then we'll go inside. Yes, dear.
Can we ask that people who are present in the room read first, and if anybody on the Zoom wants to read, that they can read afterwards? It'll just be easier.
Okay. The request is that anyone who wishes to read that is present, physically present here, they'll start. So we'll start with Uma. And anyone else who would like to read, anyone else who's brought a reading. So apparently it's only Uma.
I have one if I can grab a copy of Six Lighted Windows, because
will someone get her a copy of Six Lighted Windows from the bookstore, please?
It's very short, but I'd like to.
Okay.
Happy 4th of July. I see some very dear old friends. Welcome. Today is such an auspicious day in two ways, particularly for us, for the Vedanta lovers, I would say. And it's doubly fortunate that on this auspicious day from Vedanta, it got associated with Swami Vivekananda, because this was his day of nirvana. Nirvana is a Buddhist term, and that means you pass from one form of life to eternity, to another. So that's why this day is especially auspicious for us. And as I was thinking what I can present today, this idea of Swami Vivekananda came to my mind regarding how the grace of God works. And we all know that Ramakrishna kept saying over and over again that the grace of God is always there, it's showering upon you and I and everyone. And yet, there are some souls who are particularly as if intended by God to be drawn to God. Let me explain what it means. In this extraordinary book, Divine Grace, which Brother Shankara tells all of us to read, it contains the gems of Vedanta thoughts. Gems of thoughts. And one of the thoughts that particularly struck me as extremely important is the idea of self-worth. The idea that we are all not born sinners, as some aspects of Christianity put it, not all. But we are divinity ourselves. That we are that source of divine which is working through us. So we are that part of divinity. But somehow we got lost. And we got misdirected. And one of the reasons was that everyone was thinking about oneself as, I am something. I am extraordinary. I'm special. I'm this, I'm that. And that is what Swami Vivekananda comments upon. He breaks the bubble as if of your pride, your hubris in Christianity. That what is the difference then between self-worth as strength, as belief, as faith in yourself versus that inflated ego, that sense of the whole world will go to extinction if I'm not there. I'm running the show. It's like that little puppy who is under a cart or a car and thinking that I am driving the car. So this is the distinction that Swamiji draws between cultivating your healthy ego, not the kind of ego which verges on arrogance, which verges on pride. And from time to time, we all have to watch out when we slip into one from another. So without much ado, I will read. And That's what connects. How do you earn or deserve the grace of God? By letting go of that little ego and cultivating healthy ego, which he calls self-reliance, super strength of self-surrender. So this is another connected idea, that when do you offer your best of the best to God? What is the idea of self-surrender? In order to surrender yourself fully, you first have to develop, you first have to build your healthy ego. And for example, Swamiji says, he refers to that Bengali custom that on certain day they'll sacrifice a goat. I don't know whether it's still done or not. And in order to sacrifice the goat, they feed the goat. You know, since 15, 20 days ago, to make him very fat and very meaty. So the idea is that you give your best self to God, that you are not a weakling. You're not somebody who's suffering from pity. Oh, I'm nothing. I'm miserable. I'm totally worthless. So there's the idea that as you offer your best food to God, prasad, don't we make prasad with a lot of joy? And we try our best to offer the best. Similarly, when we cultivate our ego to a ripe ego, and then say, God, it's all yours. Then it's okay to say, I'm nothing, and you are there. But before you arrive to that stage, you've got to walk step by step and build up your ego. So here is Swamiji speaking, unlike my poor self. I should not say poor self. Okay. You got it?
Yes.
You're watching yourself.
The strength of self-reliance and the super strength of self-surrender. Swami Vivekananda used to convey the meaning of philosophy of self-surrender and saintliness as the crown of self-reliance and manliness. He used to call it manliness. And you don't have to misunderstand. Manliness is a quality. It's not gender related. It is your faith in yourself. It's your firm belief that yes, I am something because I am connected to my source. And that's why you are important. Now, Swamiji says, the Muslims, yes, that's Muslim custom. Sorry, Becca. The Muslims have a holy celebration every year, and they generally sacrifice a goat on that occasion. So intelligent Muslims will purchase the animal a month earlier and feed it well, so that when they sacrifice it, they get more meat out of it. That is the way it works in spiritual life. First, strengthen yourself, assert yourself, and then sacrifice yourself. Deny yourself in surrender to God through a super strength. That is the correct attitude and way. First comes manliness, then comes saintliness or godliness. Can you believe that? You cannot be a saint, as if he's saying, unless you know exactly who you are. Not who you are in the sense of material sense, but in a different sense. This is the correct attitude, sorry. So work hard, build up your individuality, and then when you are strong and spiritually mature as a man or a woman, maturity, that's the ripe ego. You look up and see a greater courage and a greater strength beckoning you, which makes you experience and then say, not I, but thou. Thy will be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Trying to get the food.
I'm just funny. Hey, everybody, I will be brief. I'm rereading for maybe the third or fourth time Swami Yogeshananda's Six Lighted Windows, which if you haven't read this or read it in a while, there's some wonderful stuff in here about six of the Swamis that our Swami Yogeshananda got to spend a lot of time with. So these are sort of personal accounts. And of course, when you reread something, new things pop up that you didn't notice before. And this is one, and before I read it, it's very short, the reading. The reason I want to read it is because I have been sort of conflicted about the 4th of July for the past several years, but especially this year for all kinds of reasons I won't go into. But, you know, the theme of today, both as far as talking about Swami Vivekananda and Prabhavananda, and the 4th of July, the country celebrates, is liberation, freedom. Freedom is a wonderful thing, but it's nothing without love, as we've seen. We can fight for freedom, but if we're not fighting for love at the same time for everybody, then what does freedom mean? What does freedom mean? So, you know, the Swamis, Prabhavananda in particular, just has just a big place in my heart. But the lead up to this, which I won't read, is talking about Christopher Isherwood being such he was a great presence. Not only was he a great writer and helped Swami Prabhavananda do his writings and editing and whatnot, but he got him to laugh a lot and it says, invariably reduced our Swami to tears. His laughter was silent but entire, face streaming and limbs shaking. And he would just do these, Christopher would do these funny things and make Prabhavananda laugh. So this is what Yogeshananda said about that. He said, it was surely the moment of his utmost candor. He said, my mission in life, he confessed to a few of us at Trabuco, is to spread Ananda, joy. That just really jumped out at me because Ananda, we have Satchit Ananda, which are these different angles on this one thing, but Ananda is also called bliss or love or joy. And again, just wanted to say that. And I wanted to read that. That's what he said. My mission in life, he confessed to us, is to spread Ananda. Thank you.
And that was Swami Prabhu.
Prabhavananda, yes, yes.
And he embodied that. He absolutely embodied that. Say it again, please.
May I read something?
Yes, please. That's why we're here. For those of you who don't know who this is, Pranab here.
I have been thinking a lot recently because of the forced isolation, a lot, and was trying to see what can we do to change our approach. And I looked into some things which was very old. I have been coming here for over 40 years. So I have heard a lot. And I found that in the early days, I used to take copious notes. Now I don't do any such thing. And some of the things led to me to a rethinking that what can I do to change my life and change anything? And I found a book which I bought here in 1991 November, Vedanta, the Future Religion by Swami Vivekananda, not a very ordinary book. And with your permission, I will just read it and draw your own conclusion. Everybody has to go their own way. What does Vedanta teach us? In the first place, it teaches that you need not even go out of yourself to know the truth. All the past and all the future are here in the present. No man ever saw the past. Did any one of you see the past? When you think you are knowing the past, you only imagine the past in the present moment. To see the future, you would have to bring it down to the present, which is the only reality. The rest is imagination. This present is all that is. There is only the one. All is here right now. One moment in infinite time is quite as complete and all-inclusive as every other moment. All that is and was and will be is here in the present. Let anybody try to imagine anything outside of it, he will not succeed. What religion can paint a heaven which is not like this earth? And it is all art, only this art is being made known to us gradually. We with five senses look upon this world and find it gross, having color, form, sound, and the like. Suppose I develop an electric sense, all will change. Suppose my senses grow finer, you will all appear charged. If I change, you change. If I go beyond the power of the senses, you will appear as spirit and God. Things are not what they seem. We shall understand this by and by and then see it. All the heavens, everything are here now and really are nothing but appearances on the divine presence. This presence is much greater than all the earths and heavens. People think that this world is bad and imagine that heaven is somewhere else. This world is not bad. It is God Himself, if you know it. It is a hard thing even to understand, harder to believe. The murderer who is going to be hanged tomorrow is all God, perfect God. It is very hard to understand, surely, but it can be understood. This book I would highly recommend to you to read. All we can do is change ourselves. No advice, no lecture can teach you anything. You have to find what is within yourself and be part of everything. There is a vast ocean of mankind, and I am only a speck. I should not think myself as Pranav. I'm just one small instrument of God. I should try to be that God. That's all that I have to say. This is my humble offering to you. I am sorry if I have not been able to make it clear to you, but you will find your own way, I'm sure.
Thank you, Pranav.
So that you can read without reading last.
Yes.
Anyone else here or on Zoom that would like to offer something?
I want to say.
Namaste to everybody. It's such a so delighted to see everybody today.
For
And
those of you who don't know, this is Untitled Chapter.
so because we started with, or at least brother mentioned in the beginning, the poem by Swamiji, which he wrote in Kashmir, I will first sing a little shloka from a Kashmiri Shaiva text from 7th century, from 13th century, I must say, I'm correcting myself, from Vatulinatha Sutra, and it describes how Guru's words, how the words of masters can bring about this sudden change in one, as brother was discussing the kind of experiences he had with Swami Prabhavananda, and how the experience that Swamiji had with Thakur himself. So so the first verse describes the strength of the Guru's word, which makes you see that which is true, and which makes you see yourself, as Pranabda clearly mentioned, spread around in the consciousness, sort of, is that's the easiest way I can put it. And the other song is more of a is a wish that one has for the world to be Vivekamayam and Anandamayam. So Vivek is discretion and the sense of knowing or segregating what is wrong from right, or basically choosing, discerning for yourself what is good for your progress, spiritual and otherwise. And Anand is bliss, so we know what Anand is, and we did speak about it. So I'll just begin. संघट्ट घट्टन बलोदित निर्विकार संघट्ट घट्टन बलोदित निर्विकार शून्यातिशून्यमदमव्यय बोधसार सर्वत्र खेचरदृश प्रविराजते सर्वत्र खेचरदृश प्रविराजते तन्नौमि साहसवरं गुरुवक्त्रगम्यम्. भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु सदा विवेकानन्दमयं सुविवेकमयं स्वानन्दमयं भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु सदा विवेकानन्दमयं सुविवेकमयं स्वानन्दमयं तमोमयं जनजीवनमधुना तमोमयं जनजीवनमधुना निष्क्रियतालस्य ग्रस्तम् रजोमयमिदं किं वा बहुधा क्रोधलोभमोहाभिहतम् भक्तिज्ञानकर्मविज्ञानैः भक्तिज्ञानकर्मविज्ञानैः भवतु सात्विको बोधमयं भवतु सात्विको बोधमयं सुविवेकमयं स्वानन्दमयं भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु सदा विवेकानन्दमयं सुविवेकमयं स्वानन्दमयं जीवे जीवे शिवस्वरूपं जीवे जीवे शिवस्वरूपं सदा भावयतु सेवायां सदा भावयतु सेवायां श्रीमदूर्जितं महामानवं श्रीमदूर्जितं महामानवं समर्चयतु निजपूजायां समर्चयतु निजपूजायां चरतु मानवो यमसुहितकरं चरतु मानवो यमसुहितकरं धर्मं सेवात्यागमयं धर्मं सेवात्यागमयं सुविवेकमयं स्वानन्दमयं सुविवेकमयं स्वानन्दमयं भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु भुवनमण्डले नवयुगमुदयतु सदा विवेकानन्दमयं सदा विवेकानन्दमयं सदा विवेकानन्दमयम्
Thank you, Aditya. Anyone else with anything, or is there someone on Zoom who would like to speak?
I have one question, not
Yes.
anything to read.
Please.
Sorry. This is my false ego saying, okay? So, and it breaks my wrong ego. But if we consider God, Mother God and Father, I'm a Shiv Shakti Upasak. If as a parent, if I say surrender to me, my kids never gonna listen to me because I want to bring my kid here. They rejected me totally. So the question is, when Father or Divine Father is asking, or Divine Mother is asking, surrender, in what terms is saying surrender? The parent, if I consider as a parent, or if I consider as a Sakha, as in Gita say, if Krishna say, surrender to me, and then I'm gonna give you a path. So my question, what in the world parent tell that kid, surrender and then I'm gonna take care of you? That one question that's bothering me from long time, and it's my false ego that I also know, but I'm not able to find the question, answer, okay, anywhere. Everybody says surrender to me and then I'm gonna do something. But I say, why you want someone to surrender and they will then give a grace? If I am a kid, you are my parent, then what's the question of surrendering? Where the surrendering comes from? Whether the word
Sri
is wrong.
Ramakrishna doesn't say anything about surrendering necessarily. He says demand. Demand. I am your child. Am I your 8-month child? You talk about your ego, false ego, this, that, there. It's all nonsense. Just think of yourself as the divine child, as the child of the divine, and as the divine child, come to that. And then say, give. Give. Just as your child says to you. Don't they? Give.
Yeah.
The Lord's invitation to us is just that. It's an invitation to surrender. And then if you surrender, what do you surrender? You surrender your actions, the fruits of your actions, and your karma. So that your karma no longer belongs to you, nothing belongs to you. This is a higher state. But Sri Ramakrishna insists on tamasic bhakti as a very real possibility. I am not your 8-month child. Give to me. You are my parent. You are the noble one. Give to me. So don't be shy. Don't be talking about false ego, this, that, and the other. You are the child of the divine. Insist on it. Insist on it. Then, if you wish to accept the invitation of the divine to no longer take human form, then you practice surrender. Then you say, I'm weary of all of this, Father, Mother. I accept your invitation to give it all back to you where it belongs. And it takes long practice, but Sri Krishna describes it very, very accurately in chapters 3 and 4, exactly how to do it. Okay?
Okay, Haima coming to us from Colorado has some quotes that she would like to read, and I'll turn this up as loud as it'll go so you can hear. Hey, Haima.
Please.
Thank you, Brother Shankara and Cindy, for this few minutes of time, giving it to me. First of all, thank you, Brother Shankara, for sharing your wisdom and guiding us through our inner quest to liberate our souls. And thanks to all my spiritual brothers and sisters for sharing their wisdom to make me grow to a higher self. And I just want to read a couple of inspiring quotes from Swami Vivekananda, very short ones. Here it is. We are what our thoughts have made us. So take care about what you think. Words are secondary. Thoughts live. They travel far. Another one, you have to grow from the inside out. None can teach you. None can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul. Another last one, you cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself. Happy July 4th. Sorry to miss being there. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Haima. So, with that, we will close with our wonderful chant inviting peace, because this is the translation of our beloved Swami Yogeshananda, a very ancient prayer. Let there be peace in outer space. Let there be peace in the sky, on the earth, and in the waters.
Let there be peace in the sky, on the earth, and in the waters.
Let there be peace in the herbs, the plants, and the trees.
Let there be peace in the earth, the plants, and the trees.
May the gods be peaceful.
May the gods be peaceful.
May the whole universe be pervaded by peace.
May the whole universe be pervaded by peace.
Let that infinite universal peace prevail throughout my being.
Let that infinite universal peace prevail throughout my being.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. And now, beloved, let us go into the monastery and enjoy our potluck lunch. And for those of you who brought things to share, thank you very much. The center has, of course, provided some things, and there's been some gifts from others. I don't know that that's all explained, but in any event, come, enjoy yourselves. I need to hurry inside because of my age.
So bye, everybody. Bye, everyone on Zoom. Thanks for being with us.